It's celebrity endorsed activism. It's more symbolism rather than substance. So, for example, let's turn to LeBron James.
No, I'm not worried at all. I rely on God, Allah.
Racism, ignorance cannot exist in a vacuum. It needs to be supported by people, either intentionally or by just letting things like passively. So either actively or passively. Ignorance, this type of oppression cannot exist without either the active or passive and the passive support of people. And what we find ourselves now is that we understand, hey, there are some significant issues that we need to deal with in society. There are some significant injustices that are occurring. And the way we go about it, we don't want to make the same mistake as what brought those issues to light in the first place, or what allowed those issues to manifest in the first place. And I'm going to explain what I'm talking about. Because what we do right now, oftentimes, is everything is so commercialized and corporatized. So it's corporate approved activism, it's celebrity endorsed activism, it's more symbolism rather than substance. So, for example, let's turn to LeBron James as an example of somebody who's standing up against racism. And so now he becomes our model. It's endorsed now, the BLM movement. Yes, he is the person that's going to help us stand up against racism. Well, that is still short-sighted to have our leadership and somebody lead us like LeBron James, with all due respect to LeBron James, because he may actually, through some conversations, may be able to become self-reflective and look at some of the shortcomings that he may have. So what am I talking about? Well, he's very vocal about the Black Lives Matter movement, but when it came to the issue of China oppressing the people in Hong Kong and how they were dealing with the people in Hong Kong, let alone of the evil, the pure evil that is being done to a Uyghur people, very silent. Silence, complete silence. So there's no speaking out against that. And actually, when he was confronted about the fact that he criticized the Houston Rockets general manager for speaking out against China, or because of in support of the Hong Kong protesters. So he was called out because he criticized somebody for trying to support people trying to lobby for their human rights. He is quoted as saying, "I'd be cheating my teammates by continuing to harp on something that won't benefit us trying to win a championship, because that's what we're here for." And then he goes on to say, "We're not politicians. I think it's a huge political thing, but we are leaders and we can step up at times. But you don't feel like you should speak upon things that you shouldn't have to." Okay, so wow, we're not going to speak out against this. So it's, again, I will speak out against racism on certain issues. I will speak again, for human rights on certain issues, but maybe not other issues. And that's celebrity pandering, symbolic type of activism or solutions. Another example I saw, and as Muslims, I think we can appreciate how, for us, that is actually a symbol of oppression, is that when you had, there was I believe it was in Texas, where you had people of this church, the white people of this church, were bowing or kneeling and begging forgiveness to all these black people in the church as like a symbolic thing. So they were crying and begging and asking for their forgiveness. That is not an Islamic concept. We only bow. It's unanimous. It's ijma' of the scholars. you should only bow and prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't bow and prostrate to anybody else. So that's not maybe oppressing somebody else, but that's oppressing yourself by not giving the, by doing such an action to somebody else, right? Again, it's symbolic and pandering. And a person, just because they're white, you see, this is how superficial it is. Do we have to say, oh, white people are like this? I don't believe that, because as a Muslim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created white people, he created black people, he created people of all sorts of different races and nations and personalities and all sorts of different types of people. And inherently, people aren't evil. We cannot say by a person's skin color, by who they, what they look like, that a person is inherently guilty of anything or guilty by association. We do not have that worldview. We do not have that concept. Okay, so again, this is symbolism and this is pandering. So we have to go deeper.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.